right, well, with that, we'll get started. Welcome, everybody, to The Cutting Edge. It's me, Joe Brammer. We got Dylan Gemelli, Joe Ellis, Matt Morton, and our new producer, Bryce, a.k.a. Peach Boy, a.k.a. the Ankeny sensation himself. So real quick, we don't have a lot of time, so we're going to just get right into it. Today, we want to talk about what supplements actually work, what science has proven to work, and also Matt just got back from competing on the world CrossFit team. Why don't you say it, because I'm going to mess it up. Tell everybody what you just got done doing.
You caught yourself right on time. It's not CrossFit, it's functional fitness, and they're very distinct about their separate brands, but I'm on the USA Functional Fitness team, representing the USA at the International Functional Fitness World Championships. That's what I just got back from.
Well, tell us about that. Tell us how you guys did. Just give us all the details.
Well, background, before we got there, one of our teammates was, I'm guessing, procrastinated and didn't end up getting her passport in time. So before we even got there, it was a lot of stress involved. So because we had to get a replacement that just so happened to be living in the town we were flying to Sweden from. So she got informed she was going to Sweden about 2 hours before that happened. Jumped on a plane. And
so how much did that, no disrespect to her or whatever, but she hadn't been preparing and training and stuff for that competition?
Yeah, she wasn't prepared. She had no idea that was happening. And not only that, she didn't make the team,
Right, yeah.
And the teammate that did was a good athlete. I'm not saying she wasn't, but, obviously there's a difference there.
Sure.
And just the preparation that goes into it, being unprepared. It's quite a difference as well. So, yeah, that was definitely. I'm glad that she was able to do it for sure, because that would have messed up plans for somebody somewhere. But yeah, we went over there and competed against 13 other teams from around the world, and we ended up fourth after a hard-fought battle.
That's still pretty good, though.
That's excellent.
Yeah, considering all the variables. Yeah. I can't be too upset, but I am. I like winning, So I was planning on winning. I was on the team 2 years ago and we won. I wanted to win again. Last year I competed as an individual.
Oh, okay.
And I ended up fourth. And fourth is the worst position to get, right off the podium,
Oh,
so
yeah.
For sure, man.
I was going to say, aren't 5th, 6th, and 7th worst, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, anything, so what is, I don't even know, what is, it's called the Functional Fitness World Championships?
Yeah, International Functional Fitness World Championships, or IF3.
IF3,
is,
so if people want to look up, if they Google that.
Yep.
What kind of events do they do?
Well, the whole purpose of the foundation of the organization is to become an Olympic sport. And there's a lot of time and processes and things that have to, and basically.
Oh, you know what? I remember when this first got started.
Yeah.
I do remember. I do know exactly what you're talking about now that you're saying this. I have heard of this in there, because they want to standardize it, whereas CrossFit is kind of like not standardized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Because you have, in order to be an Olympic sport, you have to have some sort of standards. And so that's where, one way where it's differentiated is because in a CrossFit competition you can just pretty much do whatever the heck you want to do.
So with this you're doing, is it like, so it's obviously not like a powerlifting meet either, where specific weights.
Right.
How do they judge it?
Right. There still is some variance within the tests, but there are 6 different tests. So running through the 6 tests, and they're all in order, and from every level, the World Championships, and then each country has their tryout as well, and they have these same tests. And among these tests, you can have different movements, but they're all testing basically the same thing, which is test 1 Test 1 is aerobic capacity. Test 2 is strength. Test 3 is gymnastics endurance. Test 4 is gymnastics skill, and then mixed modal, and then power is the last test. And so you still have a lot of different things that can be tested among those, but there is some standardization and some consistency. So if you're trying to figure out exactly,
so what are some of the, like the power, for example? What are some of the events or?
So you're trying to test your maximum output. So it's going to be a short duration event, and you're trying to. It could be like an assault bike sprint or a rower sprint along with some kind of compound movement. And it's about how fast can you move, how powerful can you be. And so it's a combination of strength and speed. So it's going to be something either heavy for a low amount of reps, but it's meant to be a full speed sprint, So every time they have a power event, that's my favorite because, you just got to be able to turn it off and go. And, it's always exciting because it's a dead sprint, short event, like I would say sub 3 minutes.
Nice.
For sure. And it's just go.
So is it 2 days?
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah.
And how much of that time do you guys spend competing? Obviously, somebody's going to be competing probably all the time. But
right.
Individually, how much time do you actually spend competing?
It depends on the events a little bit, but I would say, yes, somebody's competing. So we have the team, which I was on this year, 4-person team, 2 males, 2 females. And then there's the male individuals, and then there's the female individuals. So the way it works is 5 guys and 5 girls from each federation make the team, and 3 compete as individuals, and 2 guys, 2 girls, 3 guys, 3 girls compete as individuals, and then 2 guys, 2 girls form the team. And so, yeah, somebody's competing pretty much at all times, and you've got different heats, So, yeah, somebody's on the floor at all times, but we try to watch the other athletes. It's definitely, really cool and kind of like a big-time family or community atmosphere, trying to rep for your home country's athletes. But there's a lot of downtime as well, for sure.
How many countries?
Oh, man.
Anybody from Uzbekistan? Do they have a team?
Yeah, I know, like Latvia, they had Latvia had somebody finish 3rd.
They got all those old Soviet bloc countries. They got a really good background in
computer
Olympic,
hacking.
well, a lot of things, yeah. Olympic weightlifting. PEDs also, like they invented PEDs back in the day.
And I'll tell you what,
right?
the Scandinavian countries have incredible aerobic capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because around here.
So speaking of that, do they drug test?
Yeah, they drug test.
Oh, they drug test.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Which
I got
actually
one for him too about the diet, because your diet probably has to be structured a little different because you got to also have the power with the endurance. So, I mean, understandably so, to have that kind of endurance, most people are generally leaner, but I'm sure your diet has to be a certain way to keep that power too at the same time.
I mean, really,
tell them what your diet is first.
My diet, basically, my diet is make sure I get 5,200 calories in a day.
Right.
And so.
But you try to keep it a little bit cleaner, right? Because obviously you're trying to stay.
I get what I need,
right,
and then I get whatever extra.
I got you.
Yeah, I mean,
because you're burning so much with all that output. Obviously, that's why you need that, because that's an exuberant amount of calories. But I see swimmers that need that, and I mean, you especially are going to need it.
Yep, and everybody's body type's a little bit different.
Right.
So there's some people that are cut back pretty considerably, but pretty much the lowest I've heard calorically is 3,000, 3,500 for a male.
Right.
CrossFitter training is as much as I am and competing at that level.
Sure.
So that actually brings up a good point, because if you look at MMA, every single weekend, every single time I go to mixedmartialarts.com, somebody's getting busted or something.
Right.
And everybody says the same thing. Not all, but most of the people say the same thing. I took a supplement, and it was
tainted supplements.
Tainted. Yoel Romero just got $30 million lawsuit.
Oh, that's right.
And he deserves it, because every time he fights for the title, they screw him. His last 3 fights, he's won. And the judges have said he didn't win, but that's another story.
Right.
But he got popped because he took a supplement. And some of them, I mean, some people are lying, obviously, right? not everybody's taking, but there's a lot of supplements out there that are spiking.
Oh,
their
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and I know
And so
if,
you've
no
been
FDA
taking all
regulation.
of the Elite Edge products,
yeah,
right?
for sure.
And so that's good to know too that, you know, they're clean.
Yeah, and
Because a lot of supplement companies, like, what is it? What's the red one? BSN.
Yeah.
Yep.
They've had like 25 different lawsuits.
oh
Well,
my
and the
gosh.
thing
Or
is
something
part of
like
the
that.
problem is because the supplements that they market, right? They market them in a way that makes you believe that they're something that they're not. And because people have been called out for so long about, oh, this is garbage, it's all marketing, well, they spike the supplements to make them
Right.
seem better than they are. It happens all the time. So
But yeah, you throw some steroids in there.
well, yeah, but they do things
Yeah.
like throw ephedrine in there, or things like not necessarily steroids, but other things that are definitely banned that you shouldn't be using, and if the FDA finds out, you're just done.
Well, not only that, but you're talking about if you're competing at something,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that's going to screw your reputation over.
oh yeah, you're done.
Yeah, it's not good. And there's big supplement companies. Like
Oh.
GAT, GAT.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the one.
yeah.
That's
John
the
Jones.
one. John Jones, and then
But then with John Jones, you don't know. He might have just been
Gat-
throwing them.
No, but I'll tell you, don't
What's true and
buy
what's not.
anything John Jones does. But GAT is one that their stuff does seem stronger, and it's been like that over time. I mean, so it doesn't surprise me that they're kind of caught doing that.
Yeah, but that plays a huge role in determining what supplements I'm going to put in my body, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
should for any elite athlete. I mean, you have to have a brain. If your performance is that important to you, you got to know that the drug test is coming.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I mean, there's no reason to take anything that you're going to get, busted for.
Busted
You
for,
just
no.
got to have just half a brain.
with the tainted supplement thing, it's pretty crazy. I mean, not even 2 years ago, I was buying pre-work. I don't know. I was getting a pre-workout, and the sales guy said, he's like, "This one's really good. It's got ephedrine in it," type
Yeah.
thing. And I was like, I mean, I'm not a huge supplement guy, so I was like, "Oh, seems good. Yeah, cool." And I told another friend that is, and he's like, "Wait, where'd you get it?" Like almost like a fiend. Like where? And goes and buys a bunch of
Oh,
it. And it's
yeah.
like, oh, because it's not supposed to be on the shelf, but without the regulation.
You go back in time, like a lot of these things were legal,
Right.
in like early 2000s,
Right.
90s.
Oh, yeah.
Even pro
I was
hormones.
taking it in high school.
Yeah,
I didn't-
I took ephedrine in 2000.
But you didn't know.
No, but
I mean, I don't know if it actually even is bad for you.
No, it is. It certainly is. It's very bad for you, especially long term, especially misuse. And if you're getting a supplement where you don't know how much you're taking, it's
Right.
really bad. You can buy ephedrine right
yeah.
now. The only way you can get ephedrine in the United States is to go to the counter, at the drug counters, like a Walgreens or something, and it's called Broncaid, the way they sell it. It's for asthma, but you have to give them an ID, and they're monitoring it. So if you try
How
to
much
go
you
in there,
buy.
if you
Right.
go in there and try to buy it 4, 5, 6 times, they're not going to let you do it. Because you're in the system. Canada, it's still legal, but they banned it a long time ago. People were dying over using it. Young kids. Like right in 2000, 2001 especially.
Yeah, it used to be in everything. It used to be in night. What is it? Not nitrate.
NyQuil?
Well, was it in NyQuil?
I don't know. I'm just giving. I'm talking about over the
Remember-
counter. Xenadrin was a popular one.
Xenadrine. I remember that. And those shreds Tech
yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
That
that.
was a big one.
They all had ephedrine back
A
then.
lot of
The
gas stations
original-
just had them at the counter.
Yeah.
The yellow jackets
Yes.
and stuff like that.
The original hydroxycut was pretty
Yes,
Hydroxycut.
hydroxycut.
That's what I was
like the original
trying to
one
think
was
of.
a really
It
had
was
some
strong.
serious stuff in it.
I mean, now they've been reduced to nothing. I mean, they're
Right.
just average fat burners that really don't do a whole lot.
So let me ask you guys this, because you have a master's degree in nutrition and you're really, really knowledgeable about supplements. And, I don't know how much you know about Dylan, but he's been in the supplement industry for a long time. And that's kind of like how he's made a living off of, recommending and I don't know what you would call it, reviewing supplements, just being a... So what do you guys think of so-called fat burners?
I mean,
Since they took... you kind of like... back when they had ephedrine, yeah, they really worked, but they
They're
were
effective, yeah.
good for you. Now are they really... some of them obviously work, but...
Well, you want to go ahead?
yeah, I'll be brief.
Okay.
In my opinion, there are fat burners that work, and I think probably most of them have ephedrine. I don't really study them that much because I don't believe in them. But what I do know is, as soon as whoever has been taking the fat burner stops, it all comes back. Plus,
That's it.
every time.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. One, you can't stay on these for the duration. You know that. You can't stay on them for your whole life. You can't stay on them for
Right.
years because there's things in there that are speeding up your systems. So they lighten them up, right? But then how effective are they? there's things like yohimbine, for example. Well, that can, even in small doses, even though it's legal, it's got a lot of side effects. And when you're talking about speeding up your central nervous system, different parts of your body, your heart, things like that, your blood pressure, I mean, how smart is that in the long run? It's not really smart.
Right.
There are some lighter
calories.
ones out there, like the ones you can take at night and things like that, that have just a bunch of natural things that are fine, but how effective are they? You maybe lose a couple pounds, and it's mostly mental, placebo effects, things like that. Do they work? Yeah, to a small extent, more or less. Are they safe long term? Maybe not necessarily, depending on what's in them.
Yeah, I think, I haven't taken a fat burner since like hydroxycut back in the day, because you would just go to the gym and everybody would be like, I used to train with these older guys who were deep into training that really got me into it when I was like 15, and they were deep into the supplements, and I started taking supplements when I was in like 9th, 10th grade. But so I've been taking them for years. I don't think, I'm not a big fan of them. I think some of them for appetite suppressant help.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like you're saying, if they're having things and they're speeding up your body, and it's like very short-term thinking.
Well, the thing that you should look for when you're looking for a fat burner is like something without maybe a direct effect, like something that increases your endurance so it allows you to get more output, so then you can burn more fat. Things like that.
Right.
For me, that's what I try to recommend people, or I tell them, how about some good old-fashioned hard work? But, I understand wanting a boost. Get in my league. But, wanting a boost, I get it. But like I said, secondary, something that indirectly affects it, that allows you to enhance your performance in a safe way and get more output, which then allows for more fat burning. And control your eating,
Well, yeah, no, but see, that's the thing. People don't want to do.
No, they don't.
They
Everybody
don't want to do
wants a
what
shortcut.
makes sense and what everybody wants a pill. That's why those pills sell so much.
Right.
And the funny thing is, those pills too, they cost dollars to make, and they sell them for put a couple
it's the most
zeros on it.
expensive supplement, probably, are the pills.
And they're the cheapest ones
Cheapest
to make. They literally
Absolutely.
a few dollars to make.
Yeah. But going back, I want to hit something really briefly, or ask you a question. Does MMA have an educational source where athletes, like top tier athletes, are educated?
See, MMA is kind of, or I should say, like, so MMA is obviously a newer sport, right? In the big scope of things. They have the UFC Performance Institute, but it's funny, it's even like, so you're talking about when it comes to
Drugs and drug testing.
There's USADA.
Yeah.
And they hired Dirk Nowitzki, I think his name is. That might be saying
That's
Nowitzki.
NBA.
Oh. Yeah, see, they hired this guy, I think his last name is, whatever he is, they hired this guy who was the head of USADA to work for the UFC now as their drug guy or whatever, and they definitely ramped up the testing, because back in the day, Frank Mir...
Well, they wouldn't catch anyone back in the day, right?
No, hardly, dude. Okay.
Hardly anyone got popped.
Some people were going in. I saw guys. I was in the locker room and I saw guys. And Josh, when he gets here, can tell you guys probably a million more stories than I can about this. But, Frank Mir one time said, I only know 3 guys in the UFC that aren't on steroids. Which is an exaggeration, because I know of a lot more. I wasn't on steroids.
Right.
Jeremy Stevens wasn't on steroids. Near, I know, never took steroids.
Yeah.
So,
Nate, go.
Yeah, there's lots of guys that weren't, but there was a lot of guys that were, and there was no testing. They would say, here's a cup, go in the stall and pee, and guys would have, what a Whizzinator is.
Oh, yeah.
The guys were doing that, guys were having another. It was a joke. It was just like, don't get caught, right? Like, we don't want you to get caught.
Any idea how many guys write me in MMA asking me what kind of cycle to run and what they should use, and I always tell them.
Where it's the biggest now is jiu-jitsu. Because in the jiu-jitsu, there's zero testing.
Right.
And these guys are gassed up in jiu-jitsu tournaments.
Well, so Chad Wesley
All the
Smith
top guys.
is a newer jiu-jitsu guy, but he was a pro strongman, and he was a world record-holding powerlifter, and he started training jiu-jitsu however many years ago. And he goes in there, he's absurdly strong. I can say for a fact he uses steroids. And I mean, you see this guy and you're like, oh my God, anybody that has to go with this guy is like,
Yeah, but he probably doesn't have a gas tank.
not really, but he just manhandles people so bad because he's so big.
Well, here's the other issue with that, though, is that a lot of these guys they're clueless. They're listening to guys that don't know what they're doing. They're taking things that are going to hurt them making weight. For example, steroids aren't used to lose weight, right? So you're trying to make weight. It's an issue right there. Then the side effects with a lot of these that come into play that they're not controlling, you get estrogen buildup. You start getting like your liver taxed. You get lethargic. You train like shit. I mean, there's so many different things, and they don't get it. They don't know what they're doing.
One thing I've seen, too, is a lot of these guys that are those type of guys, they don't have very long careers.
Shelf life is short.
And they get,
Quick
or
rise, quick
we've
fall.
seen those guys that once they get off them, they're another human being.
Yeah.
They couldn't do it without the steroids.
Well, they don't know how they're cycling either. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So when they're doing it all wrong, which I'm not condoning it anyway, but I'm just telling you that it's a bigger mess than just, I got in trouble. It's causing them other damage because they don't know what the hell they're doing.
What you're doing to your body.
No. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it. I'm not saying they're safe in any way, but I'm telling you that you could do it long term if you do it right. But these guys don't have a clue. It's just like, let's get crazy. And that shit don't work.
Well, that's a lot of the in MMA. A lot of that mentality was back in the day. It would be like, let's go in, and training is fighting, and everyone's trying to kill each other in practice. And then it's like if you played football, you wouldn't be sacking the quarterback all week.
Exactly.
They have a practice team for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, there's a lot of things that are backwards in MMA. And part of that is, it being new. It's getting better, but they have like the Performance Institute now. I don't know what happens there or what that even... I think a lot of it, though, people have to take it upon themselves, just like anything in life. You have to find out for yourself and educate yourself. Don't take anybody's word for it. Don't take our word for it, right?
Yeah.
Let it go in one ear, out the other, and look at it. And like Bruce Lee said, one time Bruce Lee's famous because he taught this class, and at the end of it, he said, hey, guess what? Everything I just taught you was BS. None of that stuff worked. So, but I'm showing you how easily you can be lied to and manipulated.
Right.
I just taught you guys lies for about an hour and you all ate it up. But he's like, don't even believe what I say. You have to see what actually works in practice. Right? Yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm not saying see what works in practice with putting stuff in your body. That's not
Right,
good.
exactly.
Try some out.
You
See
got to
what
do
happens.
some research.
Well, I'll tell you, the reason I asked the question is because in functional fitness, in IF3, USADA actually educates the athletes
On
the day
supplements or
the
Really?
day before the event begins.
That's good.
They could be doing something like that in the UFC. I'm not aware of it. They weren't when I was fighting, but it's been 10 years.
That's got to make you feel good. That's quality organization.
Right.
to do
Yeah.
that,
It's
because-
amazing, man. Yeah. The organization as a whole, but so it's not just like I have a master's degree, so I know. Like,
Oh, yeah.
They're telling you exactly what is and is not banned.
Right.
And you can ensure that the supplements you're taking are third party testing,
Right.
and they got a stamp on them. Like, that's what I do. I don't play any games, regardless of how much I know. You can put whatever on a label. That's why I take our supplements, the Lead Edge
That's smart.
Lab supplements. But that way, I'm not taking any risk,
Right.
and I know that my work is going to be a representation of me as an athlete.
So let's talk about that. You guys are probably two of the most knowledgeable guys about supplements that I know. So what are, and we're not talking, well, actually, you know what? I even get emails sometimes. People say, you don't need to take protein. You don't, that's, whatever. But it's like, well,
They say that you can get everything from food. You don't need supplements. That's the one I get a lot. Right?
Well,
yeah, but it's
you don't.
what do you guys think
You
about
don't
that?
want to depend fully on supplements. That's why it's called a supplement. You're supplementing what your normal intake is. But to say you can get everything from food, maybe not so accurate either. Because
very hard to do too when we're talking about micros.
that's what I'm saying. Once you're going to get the majority of it, let's say 75-80%, but the supplements are there to supplement it to get you enough, and athletes need more of things. We know that athletes, they need more protein intake. They might need the BCAAs where a normal everyday person just sitting around may not. But when you're trying to accomplish something and take it to another level, there's only so much you can do naturally. right? You got to have something to get you over the hump. It doesn't have to be something illegal or something that can harm you. It's something naturally occurring in your body. And then there's essential aminos and non-essential aminos and things like, I mean, there's so many things that people don't grasp. They just go and think that everything's a marketing ploy, everything's got a catch, and they're jaded because maybe they bought something bad or maybe they read something.
Yeah, got tricked in the past.
Exactly. Yep. And that's what sucks for people that are doing legitimate work, because you fall into that category of, oh, you're just like everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I went on a little kick in college where I wasn't taking anything, and I mean, it didn't work for me.
Right.
But not only that, as I became more educated, the biggest thing is like nutrient timing, you know? Like you need exactly what you need in a high dose a lot of times. So we're talking about protein. I mean, and this goes into a lot of supplements, but we'll talk specifically about protein. If you eat a chicken, you know, after you work out, by the time it gets into your body, you miss the window, you know?
Exactly.
By the time it gets digested and everything. So, you know, you get a pre-digested protein that you absorb immediately. Your body is ready right after that workout for protein to enter your bloodstream.
That's why I always ask people, what's the most important meal of the day? Everybody says breakfast, but it's not. It's whatever you eat right after you work out. If you're an athlete, if you're training for something,
right,
that's the most important time, right?
Absolutely.
And things are trial and error, because you're different, I'm different, we're all different. So you got it. We can sit here and educate you on facts, sciences, things like that, but in the end, ultimately, it's up to you to figure out, well, you know, that's not really working. Well, it's not an exact science on everything. I mean, we'd like it to be. I'd love it to be. I'd love it if we could all eat the same thing and it all work. You might not be able to be in the same room as a carb, and I might be able to eat them all day. You know, things like that. So you got to figure out what works for your body. And then when we were talking about the protein, well, it's saying that you don't need protein. Well, that's not true. I mean, it's one of the main macros that you need. However, what I remember when we were talking, and I told you, everybody's stuck on this, well, I need protein right after I work out. Well, ultimately, the leucine, which is in the whey, is the major thing that you need after workout. So let's say you're cutting. You don't want the extra calories from the protein. Well, that's the BCAAs are perfect, as opposed to intra-workout. Let's say you're wanting to gain some size. Well, you want the extra calories from the protein powder, right? So, and some people are allergic to dairy. I mean, there's so many things.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many things to factor in.
And you gotta go through a trial and error.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
like I knew protein worked. I knew there was a reason why everybody that I was playing with and competing with was taking protein, but still, you don't know till you know. You know, I stopped taking protein, didn't work. Now I know. Like, I'm gonna continually take protein for the rest of my life.
One time, you know, I had a lot of different sponsors and stuff back in the day. I had a supplement company was sponsoring me, and they put me on this protein. The company's not around anymore. The company had fooled everybody. It was called, you know, the supplement store. They gave me a here's $500. Just take whatever you want. Right. And I got this stuff. So it wasn't nobody's fault but mine. And I took it, but it tasted really good. And then I come back in one day, and they're like, eventually I was like, dude, it wasn't working. Like, I was not getting the same results. So then I switched back up to, I can't remember what I switched to, like, I don't know. But then I switched to another one, and I started getting results again. Getting results, but you know the difference between when you're not, you know the difference. Anyways, so make a long story short, they tell me, oh yeah, that protein company got shut down. Their label was a total lie. Right. They had 4 grams of protein, not 25.
Oh my gosh.
18 grams of sugar, not the 0.
Wow.
That's it. Well, they were selling hot cocoa.
Yeah.
That's basically what they were selling. And trust me, when I was drinking hot cocoa after my workouts, I was not getting the same results.
I bet not.
It tastes good.
Shocker.
But dude, there's just some liars out there.
Oh, everywhere. And another thing too is learning your protein, right? So learning the difference between whey isolate, you know, just regular whey, casein protein, you know, having that slow digesting protein, and people don't understand. Well, you're going to get that a lot better than slamming a bunch of peanut butter before bed, right? Or, you know, things with more slow digesting. That's I guess, just another reason for me to say that it is important, because you have options. Just like there's anymore, I can't even tell you exactly how many different types of creatine there are, but they do have some functional differences.
Yeah.
You know, and understanding what you're using and why and what they're good for is also, you know, important because people don't educate themselves. It's just like, give me some protein.
Yeah, because when you do educate yourselves, you're going to pick up on language
Absolutely.
Of the brand.
Right.
You know, that's why I like to stick with a brand, because if you research a brand, you can kind of tell by their language, by what they're feeding you, whether it's genuine or not.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a lot of catchphrases and good lines they're throwing at you, and you can tell it's not coming from an educated, research background. Then just like don't go with that brand. And it's really hard to do that if you're in a GNC or something or a Vitamin World, looking at just everything together. But you can dismiss brands.
And the people that work in there are strictly on commission. They don't have to have any qualifications or backgrounds. It's really not.
Absolutely.
I don't want to knock those stores because it's not cool to talk.
You got to know what you're looking for.
Right.
When you go in, right?
There are people in the stores that they know what they're talking about.
Right.
Sometimes. But I know I've even personally seen on Facebook somebody post that I know, like, I'm so pumped. I'll be starting at blah, blah, blah nutrition this next week. And it's like, I know for a fact you don't know the first thing about supplements or nutrition.
No. And a lot of those guys will openly admit it. And you can go in there and know you ask. The last thing you want to do is ask them a question other than, do you have this in stock? I mean, that's really the only thing you want to ask if you have a question, or how much is this, or can you price match? You don't want to really get into anything because they're just going to tell you whatever is going to sell.
Yep. And not only that, going past just like education, you don't know if they're getting a kickback on selling a certain supplement.
No, they are.
Always.
They
need to push something.
They all work on commission.
Yeah.
All of them.
I'm not going to put anybody out here,
Right.
but I've worked at supplement stores. I've worked at a former really popular one in Des Moines. And other places I've lived. When I worked at one in Orange County there, the owner had a big thing that if anybody comes in for one product, you don't let them leave without pairing at least 2 others.
Yeah.
Regardless of what their goals are. You want protein? Well, you have to get this and this, right? And I got to work on you until I get you to pair it. And for me, it's like, well, I don't want to do that. That doesn't really feel like you're helping people. It feels like I'm scamming them.
Right, yeah.
But that's how they make money.
And you can't blame the employee because I'm telling you,
He's being told to do it.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're being told to do it. The pressure of you're going to lose your job.
Or you're not going to have a paycheck.
Yeah,
right?
because you're not going to make any commission, or they give you quotas. Trust me, I know this for a fact because I work with all these different reps and things. They'll give you quotas. And they'll say, if you don't meet this, we're going to fire you. So they're under pressure. I mean, that might be their only, a younger kid especially, might be their only means of income.
Right.
So what are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
They're setting them up for failure to set us up for failure, just the random consumer.
Yeah. And then at the same time, you talk to the normal consumer, and they're 100% convinced when they leave there that person, that salesman, is their best friend.
Absolutely.
And they're doing everything in their power to help them.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many jabronis that work there.
And if they're great, I mean, the people, but they keep all the time. I mean, I know, and Joe and I both know.
Creatinine.
A lot of,
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, people, they come in and they work with this and they'll be like, I'm so pumped, and they'll post about their results, and it's like, you almost don't have the heart to tell this person, like, hey, for 6 months you've been posting about your results. I hate to break it to you, you look the same. It's like the very first time you did it. This guy just has you convinced if you keep coming into him to buy whatever products, you're getting there. I mean, because there is a placebo with it, right? Right when you work out, right when you take something,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to change everything, I'm going to do this. But, I mean, people, they make careers off of it,
Yeah.
They do. It's a true, cold, hard fact, man.
So what would you guys say, like, what are the top supplements in your opinion that people should take that actually work?
Well, it depends on what you're aiming for, you know.
Right, yeah,
I mean,
I mean,
but
if you had to
ultimately,
generalize.
what's the most popular, most
sports performance?
sports performance?
Right.
Legal supplements. Well,
Let's keep it
BCAAs, glutamine, because recovery is so important. I mean,
Right.
recovery time, especially like what you're doing, the recovery's so important.
Yeah.
I mean, got to be one of the most important things. So, BCAAs, glutamine, protein, obviously for obvious reasons, meal replacements. Yeah,
That's number one for me is protein.
Absolutely. And then it really goes down to performance-based, what you need. Those are like essential things. It's like, well, if you want creatine, are you trying? And there's different types of creatine. So the monohydrate, the cheap kind, and I hate to say this because people will say, oh, creatine bloats you. Well, to an extent, but what creatine does, it shuttles water to your muscles to give them the appearance of looking bigger, when in reality, when you stop taking it, flushes out. You get a creatine nitrate, which doesn't hold as much water, but gives you the energy, the more power, explosiveness. It just depends what you're aiming for. Some guys just want to look big for 6-8 weeks or whatever the case. But then everything beta-ine, it's all performance-based, what your goals are. But I think those are the essential things, BCAAs, glutamine, protein, that everybody really, even every average person working out needs recovery, needs to, make sure they're getting proper nutrient intake and extra electrolytes and things like that. So
and I'll actually add one more. I agree completely, but I'll throw one more in there. Because this is really going to help you hear your body a lot more and interpret what it's saying, because it's going to be a lot louder after you do this, and that's a cleanse.
A detox.
Oh
yeah, absolutely.
Because after you do that, everything you put in your body is going to be
absorbed better.
Yeah, and you're going to, like, you might get a little signal or a little response, before you do that detox or cleanse, but afterwards, whatever it's doing to your body is going to be magnified.
It's perfect. I forgot that's right on the money. It couldn't be more spot on. That is so important. People don't realize the most important thing in all this is your health, right? So if you don't have your health, you're not going to train, you're not going to recover, you're not going to do anything. Things like that, those extra measures, so huge. That's why I always get massages and sit in the steam room and things like that to flush toxins. But when you take something like that, it's and a lot of those detoxes have a lot of things in them, like that you need hawthorn berries, things for your heart, blood pressure, cholesterol, liver, lipid panels, all of that stuff, they're normally in there. Those things, you go try to buy those single, or buy them in a detox. You want to take 35 pills a day because you're trying to cover all the ground, or do you want to take maybe 6 or 7? But people overlook general health when they're athletes, which is more important than anything. So that actually is probably number one.
Dude, how many times do you see guys that are so-called, or that are athletes, that are really good athletes, that they are ripped, everything else, but their health is actually horrible.
Oh, of course.
Externally,
look at their blood.
$1 million.
Go look at their blood panels. They're terrible.
Unhealthy.
High cholesterol, high blood pressure. Kidney values off the charts. It's just, I've seen, because I get sent these daily, okay? Because, I'm going through 500, 1,000 emails a day, and people send me blood works all day. And I see, and they're just
people
ratchet.
Understand, that's one thing too. Everybody should, if you want to know if something's having an effect, then you do blood work and you'll know.
Always.
But it's eye opening once you actually start doing that. And you start seeing stuff. It's like, oh wow! Like one time vitamin D, I started taking vitamin D, and on my blood panel, my testosterone went up 100 points in a month.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, here's why I was overdoing magnesium, and I wasn't just overdoing it. I was overdoing it like quadruple. And I started to have my heart skipping beats, and I freaked out, really. I went had all these tests done. They're like, there's nothing, there's nothing wrong with you. Well, I figured it out, what it was. But you should be getting blood panels 3 times a year, minimum. And people say, well, I don't have insurance. Look, there's websites out there. I'm just going to throw it out there for you, like Private MD Labs or something. You go on there, pay $60, go get it done. Don't give the excuse.
I know people that say that. Trust me, believe me. When Josh will tell you this too. When you're fighting, you have to get blood work.
Absolutely.
And nobody back at the lower levels, none of the fighters, even in the UFC, a lot of them don't actually have insurance. You just go and pay $70. It's not a big deal.
You can get online and buy. If you go to the doctor and do it, it's going to be $500 or $600. Go get online. Go to one of those sites. Buy it. All you do is pay for it. You go into a walk-in clinic. They draw your blood. 2 days later, you got all the results, and you can get a full male hormonal panel, and it'll show you everything: your testosterone, your estrogen, everything that needs tested internally, liver, kidney, all that
your
stuff.
Vitamin levels,
everything. So don't come up with that excuse, because it's really pathetic and it just sounds stupid as hell.
Yeah,
honestly.
and if you really wanted to know if something worked, I don't know, you probably can't see everything, but it'll give you good indicators.
Oh,
You do your
absolutely.
blood work like at least 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah, and I'll throw the disclaimer in there. That's one of the biggest reasons why just the average person struggles finding the right things, because usually in order to do it right, you have to play the long game. Usually if you have a very effective supplement that's great for you, you're not going to drink it and your head pop off or
Right.
anything, you know. It's just going to slowly work, over time.
One time, this guy I know, he took some fish oil pills, and he was like, "Oh man," he goes, "I can feel it, man." I'm like, that's not how.
Fish oil, yeah. But you know,
But I was like, "Oh wow."
what he's saying is right. Expectations are just ridiculous too with people. Look, you're not going to take any of these things, even steroids. You're not going to take them and wake up tomorrow and be Tom Hanks in the movie Big and just wake up like this.
Oh,
you
I
know,
was gonna say Tom Hanks.
you know.
I was gonna say, I don't know.
Make your wish and be big and overnight. You're not going to be Mr. Olympia overnight.
Yeah.
It all takes time.
Yeah.
And with supplements especially, look, they're not even close to a PED, you know. So just relax and chill out and understand the expectations are what you should be getting. And if you're getting crazy results, like something stupid, you probably got something taken.
Yep.
You know.
Yep, absolutely. And I'll tell you, just comparing MMA to functional fitness, I mean, it makes sense because in MMA, there's a lot of short-term testing, you know. There's a lot more pressure at certain moments to meet that weigh-in.
Yep.
Or, you know, we both compete, and, you know, when you're competing, you're out there, but it's a little bit different when you get hands put on you, you know. So there's probably more pressure there. Where somebody asks me, well, how's your body holding up after that competition? And I'm good. And I'm good because you should see my training, you know.
Absolutely.
I get beat up from training. I have to be ready for everything in training. So I'm going super, super hard in training, you know, where we have 6 different tests, and you have to keep in mind how one workout affects the next. Not that you're, you know, restricting yourself, but the events are usually set up where they don't just like obliterate you, you know, so that you can handle the next event. And especially in that organization where training, you know, you're trying to absolutely melt your body every day so that it can adapt and be that much stronger. So, and so it kind of, the whole point is it encourages you to play the long game, because obviously you spend a lot more time training. And if you're trying to put all this, you know, make all these short-term decisions and take all these unhealthy things that they give you a short bout of success, I mean, that's just not going to play well to the long game.
No.
Yeah.
Perfectly
You can't
said.
be on that stuff forever.
People don't have the long-term plan. They want everything right now. And I understand sometimes you have a short-term goal, you're getting ready for something or whatever. But if you're not thinking long-term and you only care about, man, I want to get big for 5 or 6 weeks, or man, I want to get cut up for spring break
Or
this
tomorrow.
photo shoot. Yeah. People write me and they're like, I want to lose 20 pounds in 7-8 days. And I'm just like, man, I hit my head on my
Don't
desk so
drink
much.
water.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but you got to be realistic. But like what you said, you've got to play it long term health, long-term longevity,
Well, and it's
long-term
like, too,
quality
if
of
you
life.
lose 20 pounds, and I've done that, water weight for cutting a fight, but
How'd you feel?
horrible.
Exactly.
Almost died.
Right.
Literally. I'm getting IV bags, and they can't find the vein. I mean, you're falling down. John Jones caught me. I mean, all sorts of things. You know, you
It's
feel
crazy.
like I think you're supposed to compete the next day, but it's like, okay, I understand. I at least understand that that's for a job. You don't make weight, you don't get paid. But why would anyone who's not like? Why would you want to lose 20 pounds in a week and think you're gonna look good? You don't even look good if you do that. It's like, what?
Dude, the things I hear would blow your fucking mind. I don't even want to get into it. I swear. Just the things I read and hear. It's just insane. And the sad thing is there's so many people out there that have this misconception or misunderstanding or just don't live on the planet Earth.
Yeah,
really.
I think there's not enough attention to, like you said, like you lose 20 pounds, you look horrible.
In a week, yeah.
and feel horrible
and
too.
feel horrible.
I mean, terrible.
But just talking about the looks, normal people are trying to lose weight to look good.
Yeah.
You look bad
Not
if
only
you lose
that,
weight
but
that
we're talking
fast.
about health. What that does to your liver, what that does
boy.
to your whole body to try to dehydrate yourself like that.
So bad.
Horrible. So it's like if you're trying to just do that to go to the beach.
Oh man.
Yeah. I really don't think people understand how they look if they do something like that.
No.
How sickly and unhealthy. Really, I mean, you don't. That's not how you lose fat.
Well,
so the
one
pounds.
time I put up a comparison picture from 2 different weigh-ins. One that I took a fight on like 2 weeks' notice or whatever, and I had to lose 30 pounds, and 20 of it was in a week. And then I had another picture at the weigh-in with a full training camp. Going in, I think I had to cut 5 pounds that week. And I mean, my physique will look like night and day. One, I look flat, I look like crap.
I'm sure your color too, right?
Yeah, it just, I was all sucked in. Joe Rogan called me Zoolander. Because of blue steel, right? Because I wasn't trying to make that face, but I was like, and then the other one, I looked healthy. I did not look healthy.
Well, you can't. And that yo-yoing up and down. Remember when Roy Jones tried to do that boxing?
That messes you up.
And you saw what happened. He couldn't be touched, and then he got knocked
I thought you were going to break into a song for a minute.
He got knocked the fuck out, I mean, it looked like a completely different fighter. It was terrible. Tarver knocked him out cold. And you had never even seen him get touched. But he was trying to go from light heavyweight up to heavyweight, down to cruiserweight, up and down, and it's just, you can't. I'm telling you, man, it'll catch up to you fast.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, cool, guys. I think that's probably a good spot to end it on that, unless you guys want to touch on any more supplements that we didn't. But, I think the big thing is just people do your research. Do a blood, spend a little, or if you have insurance, go get a blood test done.
Should we do some background?
Yeah.
Because I know, like, people know where I'm coming from, but for you specifically, just so people know that, what you're about.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
from.
I've been, starting 18 years old, I've been in health and fitness. And many of you people out there see me on YouTube because I've been on there like 5-6 years. I mean, I've had millions of followers. But I have been working with supplements, part owner in companies and marketing and strategizing, working at trade shows, things like Mr. Olympia, things like that, well over a decade now. I started in school exercise science and I switched to finance and got all my certifications with NASM. So I've got, 5, 6, 7 certs. I off the top of my head, I don't know at this point because I've had them so long. But this is basically my whole life is what I do is health, fitness, supplements, has been, will continue to be. But I have been blessed to have some knowledge on the inside game because I've worked with so many companies and reps that are cool that will speak to me outside the box and tell me things they probably shouldn't. I never throw them under. Right. I try to never even put an implication towards that way, but I've learned a lot of dirty things and underground things too that, but this is all I've been around. I mean, that's all I do. It's basically my whole life. So, and people that follow me, that have been following me, know that, and that's why I go through, like I said, 500, 1,000 emails every single day that I answer myself, which is certainly fun.
It's a full-time
job.
But yeah,
but I've got it mastered so I can do it quickly. Now I've been doing it for so long, but yeah, it's my whole life, man. So.
Yeah, and my background, just for the people that weren't able to hear the first podcast, is really briefly. I have a master's degree in nutrition, is one of those areas, and I mean basically my lifestyle has been consistently trying to push the calories my entire life and doing things right. I haven't ever jumped on any restrictive diet. I've just been consistent my whole life, and I'm well known for being the leanest person to ever step on an in-body at elite edge in doing so. So just doing things right and playing the long game, it makes a big difference.
I love his attitude, man. I just love it. Because there's not many people, because I deal with so many people and athletes, and they don't have that. It's hard. So when I see it, it's refreshing to me because I see so many just fucked up shit every single day. So when I get somebody around me that's like he is, it's it's great.
I mean, I'm one of the fittest people in the world in my sport.
That's excellent.
I mean, that's how to do it.
But it starts here, which you have, and most people don't.
Yep.
So
awesome, guys. Well, thank you guys, and thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it, and we will be back at it next week. All right.
3 beers, brother, 3 beers, and I had oysters, and that's it.